Okay, it is 4:02 p.m. on July 27th. I call this meeting of the Wolfeboro Police Commission to order. I invite everyone with us to stand and join us to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. And there is no non-public. Entertain a consideration of the minutes of June 15th, 2023. From our last meeting.
No. I move that the minutes be accepted as presented.
Okay. Motion made by Commissioner O'Brien. We have a second.
I second it.
Seconded by Commissioner Hoop. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, Captain Livy, if you would be so kind to begin with the reports.
All right. So we'll start with the incident cases year-to-date 2023. In June, there was an increase of 6.25%. That number is 51 from the previous month of May, which was 48. And we had 105 offenses included with those incidents in the month of June. So everything's behind it with all the materials that you guys do have. So it's pretty steady. It's been pretty steady for since January of this year. So, and we'll move on to the arrest year-to-date. This month we had 32, which is an increase of 39.13% from the month of May, which we only had 23, and in April we only had 11. So that's a big increase going up, but it is summertime, and we have more people around in this general area. So if you look at it, there's a lot of different kind of cases that they did have, some motor vehicles, DUIs, and we did have 2 underage drinking parties in those arrests, so that included. So that jacked them up a little bit. So traffic stops year-to-date 2023. In the month of June, we had an increase of 41.71%, 265 motor vehicle stops. In the month of May, there was 187. 19 tickets were given out, so that's 7.17% chance of getting a ticket. So you're more likely to get a warning, be educated on what happened. That 7% must have been something to do with, could have been arrest, DWI, and a lot of other things if it's a multiple offense that they've been stopped before and the education just didn't work. So, but we do have our highway safety grants that started in June, that we increased a lot more shifts for those. Those are your speed, DWI, and distracted driving. Collisions year-to-date 2023. So this was a huge increase, 225%. Yeah, we had 26 motor vehicle crashes in the month of June, and then only in the month of May we had 8. So that's a huge increase for this town. I haven't seen 26 in a long time. So.
What would you attribute that to? Why such a large increase?
I would have to go through every.
Oh.
I mean, I know we have a lot of traffic this year, and I mean, just from the July 4th, we knew there was a lot of people in this general area. But we're getting a lot of.
Is every fender bender getting reported?
It all depends if it's over $1,000, but a lot of times when officers go there, I'm not a mechanic, and cars these days with all the gadgets and electronics they do have, so it's tough to know if it's under or over 1,000. So we do take reports.
Any highlighted areas?
So we do have, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to get it all on the screen. It's been a busy little month.
Center Street was the busiest, 7.
Yeah, South Main 4. But we had a lot of ones like Pine Hill, Railroad Ave. Those are going to be your backing up. Pine Hill, no, but Railroad Ave. Trotton Track, Middleton Road, McManus Road, those are all ones. Lena Street, Dockside had 2, so those are parking, backing up into people, or pulling into people, whichever way you look at it. But yeah, your normal one, Center Street, South Main, they took, what, 11 of them. So those are common, just not that high. So we'll see what July brings, but hopefully it goes down a lot. Personal analysis reports, as you see, we had 51 incidents, as we mentioned before. School was still in. Mary had 10 that month, with Jason having 3. So that took 13 of the cases of the 51. But you'll see all that's good stuff. And up to date, year to date, we have 339. Last year at this time we had 309. So we're a little ahead of what we were last year.
Incidents or arrests?
Yeah, incidents. Yeah, so we're a little ahead of what we were last year. Not too much though, only 20. So it's not too bad. Budget review. So I did the budget analysis last week, so that was week 29 for the payroll. Right now, PD budget's underspent by 1.5%. Dispatch is 0.99%. Animal control is 8.22%, which is only about $2,000, so I don't think that's a lot. That's a small budget. But total with all 3 budgets, we're underspent by 1.54%, which is pretty good with everything that went on this year so
Yeah.
far. We do have the hire of McGee. He starts in the academy next week.
Good.
The 31st on Monday. And we will be hiring another one for full-time that will be going in January. So that's what we're looking at right there. So everything, I mean, everything looks good as the budget's continuing. A lot of the things caught up are annual expenses, so that's why you'll see the percentage go down. So our Mary's monthly report for June, I know the school ended on the 21st of June, so I got her report here. So May was the 10th month of the school for the SRO Divine, with 13 days of the school. SRO Divine responded to incidents in the Kingswood High School and Middle School. SRO Divine wrote 9 reports. Must have been a little bit more than that because she just got 10 in the high school.
Yeah.
She must have just not switched that number. SRO Divine issued a student of town ordinance violation of misuse of power. She took 3 reports regarding students in possession of tobacco vapes. All students received school discipline, exactly what we want. She participated in a meeting regarding the Kingswood Next Step team. The mission of the Kingswood Next Step team is to provide intervention of the support for identified at-risk students to increase overall positive behaviors in academic success. The middle school, she had 2 reports. She assisted a student who was having a mental crisis with the assistance of the school worker and access point. SRO Divine transferred the juvenile to Huggins Hospital. She took 1 report regarding a student in possession of tobacco vape. Student received school discipline. She contacted another agency within the school district to conduct 2 welfare checks on students regarding truancy. She took a report regarding a group of students harassing and making fun of each other to the point of criminal threat made. It was investigated by SRO Divine and administrators, and no action was taken by the police department. It was kept to the school. She took a report regarding criminal threatening, which was investigated and did not occur. No further action on that one. She participated in a chaperone at the middle school annual field trip to Canopy Lake Park. This was with the 8th grade class for the middle school. Corporal Jason Boucher was at the high school and middle school, while SRO Divine was at Canopy Lake. Sometimes we like to, especially with a class that was having some issues this year, it was good to send her there, let Salem PD know. And she helps out with the chaperone, knowing that we had Jason to take care of the school. SRO Divine participated in the middle school field days. SRO Divine participated in the dunk tank and was dunked 5 times. If you saw that on our Facebook page, it was actually pretty good. So I'll move over. You'll see her activity sheet, which is the next page, and then we'll move over to Detective Emerson's report. In the month of June, Detective Emerson covered both his detective duties as well as covering patrol shifts. For the month of June, Detective Emerson worked on 14 new criminal cases. He also was assigned to cover patrol shifts, where Detective Emerson made numerous motor vehicle stops, handled motor vehicle complaints, parking complaints, and handled 2 motor vehicle crashes. He worked with New Durham Police Department, Middle Police Department regarding a possible suicide note found. He assisted the county attorney's office with a follow-up on some cases, and he conducted an article search in the swamp in the woods trying to locate a possible handgun that was believed to have been in the possession of a subject that had committed a burglary. After Sergeant Bulio and Detective Emerson arrested the individual, Detective Emerson searched miles of the woods and the swamp areas for about 3 hours, and the handgun was eventually found by Detective Emerson. So we got that out of the woods, and yeah, so that was a good overall investigation. And we knew generally of the area, but I tell you what, it was a muddy area that he had to go through and find, and he was able to locate that gun. Detective Emerson continues to try to work on his caseload from the previous month in addition to his increased workload as he is reassigned to cover patrol shifts. So he's helping out here and there for the covering as we have McGee, and we're going to have another one going to the academy. So there's some open shifts, so we got him covering some here and there. So as a case assignment, investigated, assisted with 1 simple assault, 1 operating after suspension, 1 disorderly conduct, 1 harassment, 1 fraud, 2 criminal trespasses, 1 criminal mischief, 2 burglaries, 1 breach of bail, 1 motor vehicle theft, and 2 vandalism. Percentage of the cases closed for this month, 78%. Percentage of new cases closed by the arrest during this month is 42%. And percentage of the entire caseload closed is 80% for that month. And you can see all that from January to June on that next sheet. So he's been pretty busy as the summer's been coming along. So,
Do you have a report from Corporal Boucher? Or?
No, so he's not in as much as summertime gets in, so I don't have a report for him. I did see him yesterday real quick because he's working on, we have a training. I sent you guys a little briefing on that.
That looks like it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. So
that's other agencies from around the district too?
Yeah, they're coming in and helping out and doing everything. So we have a couple of, with Wolfeboro Dispatch, fires helping out. So
you might want to mention that, if, I don't know if you are comfortable mentioning it, but when they see a large presence of police
so we're going to get it on
school.
Facebook. So keep an eye on our Facebook page. If you see a large presence up at the school between the week of August 7th and 11th, we're doing training up there, but we'll get something out there, and then we'll have signs up at the school, so if anyone walks in there, they know we're there with doing some training up there, it's going to be some great training that he set up, did everything, got everything up here, so he's done a remarkable job with that. But when the summer comes, he's only working 6 hours a week.
He is mentioned in the next page, though.
Yeah. So with Chief's items, so he gave me this read for everybody, as he's not here today, as you see. Personnel, Frank McGee will begin 16 weeks of recruit training at the academy commencing on July 31st, which is Monday. It'll be a big day for him. Officer Joshua Peasley was officially commended for his action when rendering first aid to an injured boy at Fossfield recently. SRO Mary Devine received a thank you from the citizens from the manner in which she investigated a car crash on College Road in this reporting period. Corporal Boucher and SRO Devine, along with the high school staff, hosted a training session, so this was a different one, with the school at the Kingswood High School that featured many different stations, including tourniquets, wounded packing, chest seals, and CPR refresher, and room barricades. This had over 600 participants and included educators, staffs from several school participating departments, in addition to Wolfeboro, where Tufnboro, Middleton, Sheriff's Department, Carroll County Corrections, and Officer Peasley helped up there. Special thanks to Dispatcher Craig Garland, who provided much of our first aid training equipment and who does all of our first aid and CPR training. So, I mean, you couldn't do it without the other surrounding help with these agencies to get all this done for the school and the teachers and their staff. So they did a remarkable job. I did talk with a bunch of people and the staff and the administratives up there, and they said he did a wonderful job. Wish he had more time. That was the tough part about it. You only had a half a day with half and half a day with the other. So, but he made it work. In general, all mutual aid and extended authority agreements have been signed and in place. As you know, shift summaries have been reintroduced and back in, which is a beautiful thing. Wolfeboro Police Log is appearing in the Grunter again, so you'll be able to see that. The written directive system has been revived. So with that, Power DMS, we just had our last meeting with that, so we'll be looking at getting that out to the staff. So what Power DMS does is gets all our policies digital and out there, and basically every officer can just get it right from their phone and see everything. So, and the commissioners will have access to that, which it makes life a lot easier when people are reviewing things, and we do change a few things with policies. It's easy to review it. They sign it. We see it all through the platform of Power DMS. It's signed off. You can see what the old one was with the changes with the new one, which are usually highlighted, which is a lot easier than having everybody sign something and hopefully they read it. And then you can ask questions and do a little test after, which is a good thing to make sure they've read it and understood it. And some, depending on the actual policy change, we would do training on. So, sergeants will be reviewing and approving officer reports. We put that back into effect last week. Foot patrols are active in the downtown area. If you got a citation, parking citation, that's what that means. We are out there, the 2-hour parking, any other parking issues that are down there. You've probably seen our mountain bike, which I know is going to be a topic coming up here. But our mountain bikes out there pretty much 7 days a week. Officer Peasley and Officer LaRochelle with Officer Devine have done an excellent job doing the downtown area, what everybody wants people to keep moving around and paying attention to that 2-hour parking. Officers are actively working DWI, speed, distracted driving, and pedestrian safety grants that I mentioned before. The seasonal 2-hour parking limit in the downtown area is being vigorously enforced. We are encouraging people to utilize the trolley shuttle from the Kingswood High School campus to downtown. It's a free service, or use the Glendon Street parking lot, and you'll be good in that area. I know we've been working with the constructions that's going downtown. I know everybody has noticed it. They are trying their best, and we are working with them. If they have to get something in there real quick, an air conditioning unit or some other stuff, we let them in there 5-10 minutes, get in there, get it off, and get out of there. I know a lot of people have called and reported them being down there. We're trying to work with them as best we can. We understand the quicker they get it done, the quicker they're out of there. So we're trying to meet somewhere in the middle to get that all working. So. The Wolfeboro Single Track Alliance and its president, Chris Dow, have graciously donated a police bicycle to the department. It's going to be a new one for you guys. I understand this is the first addition to our bike program other than for pedal bike. I know we had the electric bike donated in 20 years. We are most appreciative of this kind gesture, and thank you. It's going to be going in front of the select board on the, is that the 3rd? Yep, on that Wednesday. So I just sent that over to Amy. So it's a great bike. Officer Peasley is part of the Single Track Alliance. They realized that we are in need of a pedal bike. As it was mentioned, the pedal bikes that we do have were there prior to me getting hired.
Those are the ones, no, that actually, when I was on the commission back in the 90s, we started with one, and then we got a second bike.
Yeah.
So that's how
But
old
that's-
they are.
yeah,
It was
that's
back in the,
before.
between 94 and 99.
I mean, they've come a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Long way. So it's a great thing. I'll try next week to get a photo of it up there, so everyone can see it. The Cotton Valley Trail will be closed from Center Street to River Street for 10 days starting this week, which I'm assuming is right now, or next week, or is it right now? Outstanding work for our fire rescue, central dispatch, and police officers dealing with the recent rains and flooding. And thank you to DOT for getting Route 28 at Mink Brook reopened so quickly, because I live on the other side of that. And that is quite a ride back into work, I tell you much, but it's like a 4-minute drive, and we make it a 50-minute drive.
Well, there were
So-
4 or 5 members of the department that are
Yeah,
on
I
that side
live on
of the
that
break.
side. So close to. Meetings, etc. Attending Officer Dustin's graduation from the police academy, that was in June. Town manager's public safety building, we are continuing with that. There's a lot of things going on with that, pretty much weekly, and we're in a bunch of other meetings trying to get IT stuff all straightened out with wires, TVs, all that good stuff. I know we're trying to figure out parking. We're working with the library. We had a meeting with them last week, actually the other day. It's going to be really, really tight when this starts up in August. Our PD will, our public safety building will be open during this whole project, so everyone can still come in the front doors, except when we get to phase 3, but we'll get something out there by then. And that's the main building when that goes into renovation. So we're going to have to really put our heads together to figure out a way to how we're going to have the public come in from that point. But we should be start seeing construction mid-August, end of August coming in there. So it's going to be a tight space, I'll tell you that. Oath of office for recruits in the Great Hall that we had in June for our new recruits. Planning board meeting that Chief attended, and that was for the public safety building. Selectmen's meeting at the Great Hall. The chief and lieutenant, we usually take those when I take the first month and the lieutenant takes the second month. But I know last month the chief actually went with the lieutenant to that one. We filmed 2 sessions of Coffee and Connections with the chief. If you ask him the next time, he loves it. I can't tell that. Met with 2 members of the budget committee, and department staff meeting that we had in the month of June went well. Meeting with DeSante staff for the protection detail for July 4th. So we met with them. I think they had 10 to 17 crew for the DeSante's crew for the 4th of July parade. We had a little briefing beforehand just so we were informed of everything what was going on. So they were really good with the communication. Quarterly budget review with the town manager and finance director, and the daily meetings that the chief has with myself. Several department members worked hard on the series of incidents, including many felonies. In this report period, we're all alleging that one individual committed these acts from May 3rd through July 1st, which include disorderly conduct, driving under the influence, involuntary emergency admission, false public alarm ×3, operating after suspension, burglary ×3, criminal trespass, criminal mischief ×3, resisting arrest, and theft of a motor vehicle, which we had to go pick up at Bar Harbor up in Maine and bring that person back. We thank the Bar Harbor Police Department for finding him and picking them up for us. The suspect fled the area and was untimely apprehended in Bar Harbor, Maine. He waived extradition in the state, and we returned to the Carroll County by Detective Emerson and Corporal Shanks. Officers involved in the investigation of these were Detective Emerson, Lieutenant Maloney, Captain Livy, Corporal Shanks, Sergeant Bulio, Officer Peasley, Sergeant Strock, Sergeant Sparrow, SRO Devine, and Corporal Boucher. Yeah, pretty much most of it. Several investigative techniques were used in this case, including crime scene search and evidence gathering, accessing electronic information, search warrants and affidavits, and good old-fashioned police work. This was a fine example of the talent commitment we have in our department, and we thank everybody that's within our department that was involved in that. So, and especially dispatch that helped us too with all that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. So our next meeting will be Thursday, August 24th. We do not have this room. We have the room across the hall, though. So we're going to look like a big family at Thanksgiving around a big banquet table, but we'll be there, and we still won't fill the room, I'm sure, but we'll be there. And then we have Tom Bell from the Budget Committee with us, our liaison. Tom, do you have anything for us this month?
Other than the distribution of kind of the new budget parameters, looks like it's going to be about a 6-ish% discretionary, and with non-discretionary, I've heard 9.5%, but you all might know that better than I do. But you've obviously seen that, met with John Pinio, I believe, and so we'll probably kick things off in the next month and a half as a budget committee. And anything we can do to work with you to go through your budgets, just let me or Matt Flash know.
Yep. Thank you. No, Luke? Nothing? No? Brian?
just a couple things. One, the people doing the construction, they can get a waiver to park longer than the 2 hours.
Yeah, we
correct?
had that, so we had that form given to you guys during the selectmen's meeting.
Yep.
There was a few things Jim had to take care of before we could actually put that out.
So I'm wondering if they can post that in their vehicles some way so that people can see it, like a building permit,
Correct.
so that they understand that it's there.
Yeah.
And maybe we can have some kind of communication to the town manager so that he can send it out to the Board of Selectmen. So when we get calls, we can say, look in the window, that person has a waiver, they're okay. So, because we get bombarded with those kind of calls.
So once you guys, I think it might be on the next meeting, finalize that last little piece, then it will be out. We'll get it out on Facebook and the form and on our website. And then maybe we'll do a yellow form
Something.
that can be put out there.
Yeah, so that
We'll
would
figure
work. The only other thing I have is, I was doing a little research, and I ended up finding out, and it's going to town council, and then the Board of Selectmen is gonna have to look at it. It seems that we've had some oopsies potentially over the years, in that when we put a warrant on our town meeting, if it's a warrant that has an appropriation of money, the Budget Committee can recommend it, the Board of Selectmen can recommend it. If it's a zoning amendment, the Planning Board can recommend it. However, the Police Commission doesn't have the purview to recommend warrant articles, even if it's a warrant article that you draft and bring to the Board of Selectmen. RSA 32:5, 32:5, Roman numeral 5A only allows the Select Board and the Budget Committee to actually put recommendations on it. And us being a Dillon Rule state, we are only allowed to do what is allowed to us by state RSA. If it's not explicitly written that state RSA says we can do this, we can't do it. So we have, for a long time, probably been kind of off a little bit. That doesn't have anything to do with any past things that have been voted on. They're all legal, everything's good and whatnot. We're just gonna check with town council, see if there's something we can do going forward, if you can still recommend warrant articles or not recommend warrant articles.
I honestly, Brian, I don't know where that originated or when it originated.
I don't understand. See, there's not a lot of towns with police commissions.
Right.
DAR, the Department of Revenue, has never said anything to us. And I don't understand the whole
Well,
process.
I remember, I don't ever remember it being a thing back in the 90s when I was on the commission between 93 and 99. When I came back on in 14, then certain things would come up, and it was usually a member of the Board of Selectmen that would say, well, did you guys, or it might have been a town manager, did you guys vote on it?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, if it's a monetary issue with us or something within it, yes, we've talked about it, we voted on it. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're voting, to put it on the warrant.
Yeah.
We didn't do that.
Yeah,
So, but I understand what you're saying. And
It's
if
just a procedural thing
yeah.
that we gotta work out, because
No,
I saw it and I'm like, wait a minute, we're not supposed to do that. And it's just something that
Yeah.
we'll have to look at going forward.
I mean, we'll continue to vote on things internally, but
Correct.
whether they make the warrant or not is
Yeah,
really
we had
not.
an issue too with petition warrant articles. We didn't know before the last town meeting whether or not the Board of Selectmen could recommend petition warrant articles. And we got that clarified by council also. So
Can
we
you?
understand. It's, when I go looking for one thing, all of a sudden something else ends up falling in my lap and I look at it and I go, well, that doesn't seem right.
But what did you find out about the petition warrant articles?
The petition warrant articles, if there's money appropriated, like the playground, we can recommend that. But if it's not, we're not supposed to.
Sure. Thank you.
I will have a memo coming up for you guys for the August 24th meeting for to purchase the new console. So that'll be coming up. It's going to take about a year to come in. So we want to get that in there.
You could also check with your council too, make sure that there's something that, that we don't, that isn't in it. Maybe there's something else in RSA that changes things, so check with your counsel.
We're busy with our council right now, running up the bills, so. But yeah, I mean, you're not gonna get any pushback from us, it really matters not. I think if it's something that originates within the police department that has the commission's support, obviously I would assume the public will know that we support it, we can at least vocalize that, but whether or not it's on the warrant, you won't get any pushback from us, that's fine. But it's good to know because if we don't see it and wonder where it is, now we won't wonder. So, thank you.
The last thing too, the Board of Selectmen is going to be working on, at least that's what we talked about last meeting, a sidewalk ordinance to try and clarify everything so that we're not doing it piecemeal where one business asks for and then another business and then another business, and trying to set a parameter for width. Do we want to go with just ADA compliance or do we want a wider area left? Plus we're going to have the businesses give us a copy of a survey from from wherever they can get one, if they have one, or if they have to go to the registry of deeds, get one, however, because we found out that some sidewalks are owned by businesses, some are owned by the town. And so how do you tell somebody they can't use the sidewalk that is on their property? But then we have the problem that we're maintaining their sidewalks for the last 30 years. So
yeah, the slippery
this is the kind of stuff that you stumble into when you do a little bit of deep digging. So, but we're going to try and get something that will make it much easier going forward, so everybody will be on the same page for that too. You got to have something that's universal.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Okay, we have Ms. Amatucci. Did you wish to speak with the commission? Before we begin, I want to offer my apology, if you will. You had asked me a question via an email maybe a month or so ago. I don't recall the exact date, but I wanted to do this in public because I'm standing up.
Can I sit over there so I can hear you better?
We'll be happy to bring a chair up for you. Yes, ma'am. I know.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Right in front of the
Can I sit
mic.
there?
Want to sit here?
Yeah,
Sure.
I like it there.
Okay, that's fine. Get my own chair.
You know what, you all talk very low. I'll tell you one thing about Rondeau. He was a great orator. I mean, I give him credit for that.
He was loud, yes.
But you people talk too low.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You were apologizing?
So, you had asked me a question about the MRI investigation of the process. And the way that we understood it and the way that I conveyed it to you was incorrect. I want to give you the correct thing. We had a complaint made by a citizen about Chief Rondo. We were compelled to have an investigation done, but we went to we did not go to MRI. We went through town council. So we contracted with town council. They're the ones that contracted with MRI. So that was how that went. You had asked me who ordered the investigation. Town council, Freddie Flaherty, ordered or requested the investigation be made. I just wanted to clarify that. You asked that question. I gave you the information as I understood it to happen when we did it. Things happened very quickly that day when everything came down. So it was kind of a hectic time, but I want to correct that.
So MRI did an investigation on Rondeau.
Yes.
And the investigation now is inactive, right? It's finished.
MRI has finished.
Please, you know what? When I ask a question, answer yes or no. I don't want this to go on and on and on and on. Just, did they finish the investigation? Yes or no?
Yes, they finished their
All right,
part.
so now the investigation is inactive. Yes or no?
No.
No?
No.
You said it was going to be finished the end of June. It's in the newspaper.
I understand that. That was the information that was provided us when it may be done. And then we changed it to July. In another meeting, I said it could be in July before we know the results.
Are you saying you know no results?
We have the MRI.
Yes or no? Do you have any results?
We have the results, yes.
All right. I want the results that you have.
You cannot have them.
That's what you think. So
That's
let
what
me
I
start
know.
with this. In a newspaper article, you, Mr. Wood, stated that when you got further evidence from MRI of the investigation of Rondeau, you will share the evidence. Now, didn't you say that? I got the article in the newspaper. You will share the evidence.
What I said was when the
Yes or no, did you say that?
that's not a yes or no answer, because that's not what I said. What I said was,
It's
when
what
we-
you said. I have the newspaper article. You want it?
I have it too, I know what I said. What I
And I
said
know
was,
what you said.
when it comes back, we have to look at it, we have to determine what is releasable by law and what is not. There are things that deal with privacy, there are things that deal with work product, it's all under RSA
You're
91A:5.
wrong.
I'm not
None
wrong.
of that is a personnel issue. You're wrong. Because once something is inactive, which it is, right, then there's no personnel problem anymore. So, you are going to give me everything in that MRI report. Now, I want what you have. I don't care whether it's finished or not. Now, as I believe all investigations and internal inquiries of Rondeau are now inactive. Therefore, under the law, under due process, under the right to know law, under the Freedom of Information Act, where all investigations and inquiries of Rondeau are now inactive, they are now not exempt from inspection and copying. Therefore, I am requesting a copy of all documents, of all investigations, and all internal inquiries on Rondeau. And I'm gonna get them. Now, under the Freedom of Information Act, under the right to know law, and under due process, all these acts enable me to access government documents regarding inactive police investigations, and also under New Hampshire statute 10513B, it allows me evidence in Rondeau's personnel file. Hello? Personnel file, where Rondeau is serving as a witness in my criminal case regarding an event that occurred at the dump. That evidence will prove that Rondeau's propensity for falsifying evidence. As you know, I have requested access to any and all investigations of Rondeau by the MRI, by the Public Integrity Unit of the Attorney General's Office, by the Police Standards and Training Agency, and access to the internal inquiries of Rondeau by the town. I also requested a review of Rondeau's retirement letter. All correspondence between you and Rondeau, and any correspondence between you and him prior to and since his being on paid leave. By the way, who paid him for paid leave? Did the town pay him or did you? When he went on paid leave, honey, who gave him the money?
He's a town employee, he was paid by the town.
Are you sure?
I'm positive. I didn't pay him.
Or you didn't pay him? Now, let's talk about Stuart Chase. Regarding Stuart Chase, I would like an explanation from you, Mr. Wood, of what made you report to the newspaper that Police Chief Chase had a stellar career. Answer that.
He did. He did nothing wrong. He did nothing but serve the town well while he was here as chief in his 11 years prior to coming back.
That's a stellar career. So a stellar career means he never did anything criminal. He never did anything wrong.
Correct. I don't know if
He never abused a person. Isn't that what stellar career means? Stellar means you never did anything wrong. Are you saying in front of everybody that Chase never did anything wrong?
To my knowledge, he did not.
To me? He never did anything wrong to me?
Nothing that I ever witnessed.
You don't have to witness if he does something wrong.
No, he's not.
You're going to tell that newspaper that he does not have a stellar career. You're going to tell the newspaper this. You're going to tell them that Chase has a criminal career, not a stellar career. Starting in Danvers, Massachusetts, when he was a police chief for only 1 year, and he was forced to retire for the criminal act by unlawfully imprisoning a Miss Kennedy when she went inside the police station to accuse one of his police officers of misconduct. When he put her behind bars. Now, when you knew, Mr. Wood, that Chase, in a continuing conduct, in a continuing criminal conduct, he threatened me also. When I accused Rondeau of a criminal act, Chase assaulted me and he threatened me by stating that if I accuse his men of misconduct, he will get me and arrest me on the spot, which he did. He followed me on my way to the sheriff's office, arrested me by falsely accusing me of speeding. This is your stellar person. Chase unlawfully had me prosecuted for speeding without probable cause, because speeding is not a crime in New Hampshire. You don't get prosecuted. There was a trial, and the trial court judge found me not guilty of speeding. The judge found evidence in the police logs that my speeding was a setup by Chase, and he found me not guilty. Now, as far as the trial, it was held beyond the time allotted to hold a trial. So under the Sixth Amendment Speedy Trial Clause, the trial was a Fourth Amendment violation. And under the Sixth Amendment, it was a violation of due process, which means he could never have held a trial because it was held a year and 3 weeks later, and the deadline is only 7 to 9 months to hold a trial. A Fourth Amendment unlawful seizure, besides the other Fourth Amendment seizures, when he arrested me for the other seizures for speeding, for the speeding. After I was put in jail by Chase, he unlawfully, without a warrant, he went inside my car and he stole all the evidence I had of Dean Rondeau's misconduct. Evidence of a bank deposit I made in a bank in Massachusetts. At the same time, I was supposed to be driving erratically in Wolfeboro, as stated by Rondeau. When Rondeau notified the Department of Safety of my erratic driving in an effort to have my license to drive revoked. By going inside my car, your stellar police officer, without a warrant, committed a Fourth Amendment unlawful seizure and search. Therefore, all evidence was before you for inspection, Mr. Wood, which proved that Chase, who is going out of Wolfeboro, that Chase did not have a stellar career. That in fact, he's a criminal. Notice he's not here, people. He can't face me. And when Chase has a continuous conduct of criminal behavior, he must be removed as a police chief from this town immediately, as he is a threat to the safety of the public. Also, it is noted, Mr. Wood, that you denied student Chase's crimes to the newspaper. You were, in doing so, you were denying my version of events, my innocence, and my doing. So in doing this, you were guilty of the crime of defamation of my character. Therefore, it is not only Chase who wronged me, but you have also committed defamation of my character to the public in the newspaper. Now, deny anything I said here in front of the people. Deny it.
We'll take this under advisement.
Yeah, I want him gone. You know that empty chair, man? I want him, that's how the chair's gonna be. Gone.
Are you done?
Anyone else?
What's that?
Put that in the minutes.
Yeah.
Anyone else in the public?
Anybody else have anything before we move to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
Motion seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.